everyone, welcome back to another advanced lesson in Millennial Money. I'm your host, Alexandra Gonzalez. And today I'm with Robert Kiyosaki, and he's going to be sharing with us the biggest risk he's ever taken in business and what he learned from it. He also shares with us the steps that he took from being an employee to an investor. So let's listen in on the advice Robert has for us today in this uncut interview.
So the big thing about risk here is this. In school, they compensate for risk by telling you to memorize the right answer. So in other words, these kids leave, young people like you, leave school thinking, oh, if I know the right answers, then there's no risk. And it drives old guys like me crazy. Because everybody's talking about millennials. What's wrong with them? You know, millennials are the most highly educated generation in history. They have the cell phone. They didn't get educated in school. They got educated on social media, on the cell phones. They know all the answers, but they're afraid of doing anything.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest complaint about my generation is millennials know all the answers, but they can't do anything. And the reason they can't do anything is because you might hurt somebody's feelings, you might make a mistake, you know, and that just keeps you guys just trapped in this little box here.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I think Millennial Money is such an important point here. Because if you're going to come into my world, old guy's world, or the information age, you've really got to understand what is risky and what is not risky. And in my world, if you play it safe, that makes you stupid. Because if you don't take risks, you don't get smarter.
Yeah.
You know, so you may know the answer, but you can't do anything.
Yeah. And
one of the best things I had is I went to military school, then I went to flight school. I had such great teachers, you know. All of them could fly. You know, so my flight instructor could fly. What a novel idea. You know, a flight instructor can fly. But when I was in high school, most of my teachers were terrified. They're all cowards, you know, job security. Don't make mistakes. Just memorize the right answer and you'll be safe. And that's why most school teachers aren't rich.
Yeah.
And they teach that to your generation today.
And most of them are teaching us things that they don't do on a daily basis. Like we have entrepreneurship classes, and they're not entrepreneurs, you know? So it's kind of frightening when you think we're relying on the school system. And the fact that they're teaching us, so the way to get through college, right, is practicing all the right answers, taking the exam, putting in all the right answers.
Yeah.
When in real life, that's the last thing that'll ever happen, right?
No. Like you talk about fake, you know, this is my book, Fake here. Fake money, fake teachers, fake assets. The reason it's fake money, fake teachers, and fake assets is because it all has to be fake. You have to have fake teachers to understand fake money. Then you have to have fake assets to buy those stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, fake assets. But without fake teachers, fake money, you can't do it. So that's why I love working with on these programs here. Because if you're going to be successful, you've got to take some risk.
Yeah.
And when you take a risk, you make a mistake, and you might learn something, because we're supposed to learn from our mistakes. Look at Tiger Woods, the greatest golfer in the world, and one of the greatest athletes. He's made a lot of mistakes. You know, he would not be a great golfer sitting in a room listening to a teacher who never played golf tell Tiger how to be a golfer. And so, but Tiger, remember, don't take any risk. Don't pick up that putter. Don't pick up that driver. Don't hit something because you might go out of bounds. So don't take any risks. And that's why your generation is more screwed than my generation. You know what I mean?
And in class, we look up to the person that knows all the right answers. So really, it's just this mentality of having to be perfect and have this perfect intelligence
and know all the right
answers when that's the person that'll probably be the least successful in life, because they're not willing to make these mistakes.
So let me say this again. Education is more important than before, but you got to be careful what you're learning. That's why I wrote the book, Fake Money, Fake Teachers, and Fake Assets. Don't listen to fake teachers. Yeah, I have a friend. He teaches entrepreneurship at UC Santa Barbara. And I call him up and I say, how in the world can you teach entrepreneurship? He says, well, I have a master's degree. I said, ask the question again. What gives you the right to teach your entrepreneurship? He says, I have a master's degree in entrepreneurship. And I say, hey, Doug, you and I have been friends for a long time. you've never started a business. You're a fake teacher. He goes, but I have all the answers. I said, yeah, but you don't know how to start a business. So that's why I do, again, what I do. Education is more important than before, but be careful. There's fake money, fake teachers, and fake assets in the world. Like some of the biggest fake teachers are those financial planners. They're telling you to save money. Why would you save money when the government's printing money? Then they tell you to invest for the long term in the stock market. And you guys know the stock market is ultra short term. There's high frequency trading. Today, long term is a split second. But they're telling you, guys like my generation, to keep your money in the stock market for 40 years and you have nothing left at the end of it. Then they tell you to save money. I go, what the heck's wrong with this? So let me go into why risk makes you stupid, okay? So when somebody says, what is risk? This here is a mirror. The first way you understand risk is you look in the mirror. It's who's looking back at you. You're the risk, not the investment. For example, I invest in a lot of real estate and say, oh, real estate is so risky, so I think I'll buy ETFs. So you play it safe, but you'll learn more by investing in real estate, right? Because you'll make more mistakes. So that's the difference there. So it's not real estate that's risky, it's you're risky.
And sometimes it's ironic because I think about it like, so blindly turning your money away to someone you barely know isn't risky. Or let's say, I don't know, maybe just depending on this job where your employer can fire you any day isn't risky either. You know, it makes you think a little, what truly is risky for you? How do you define it?
And you look at all the pensions of the school teachers, firefighters, and all the guys with 401ks. They're all bankrupt because Wall Street stole their money from them. You know? And the Federal Reserve Bank, they're run by PhDs, like my poor dad. And PhD stands for poor, helpless, and desperate. The Fed has not been right in years. Everybody worships the Federal Reserve Bank. The other day, somebody says, what do you think about artificial intelligence? I said, oh, are you talking about the Federal Reserve Bank? You know, they're a criminal operation. They're the guys stealing from our pension systems. It's horrible what's going on because we have all these PhDs, poor, helpless, and desperate people who are risk averse. It's funny, isn't it? It's really funny. But let me tell you what risk is. So,
Okay, perfect.
So when you go to your banker does not ask you for your report card. So here's the cash flow game, and this is called a financial statement. What makes the cash flow game different from Monopoly, how my rich dad taught me via Monopoly, is my rich dad also taught me about financial statements. So the cash flow is the only game with a financial statement. So really simply, when you look at a financial statement, there's income, expense, assets, liabilities. There's one more thing in the cash flow game on the financial statement you'll see. It's the most important statement of all. It's called the statement of cash flow. It's off to the side here. So if you're going to be an entrepreneur or a capitalist, you have to have one of these. If you're going to be rich, you have to have one of these. But 99% of all high school students leaving school and college have no idea what this is. You have FICO scores, but you don't know what this is.
No.
So when a banker asks you for your financial statement, they want to see how smart you are here. So let me tell you why school makes students poor. So really simply, it's this. Let's say I have a master's in arts, Master of Arts degree, right?
Yeah.
Or a Bachelor of Arts degree.
Yeah.
Do I learn anything about income?
No.
What about Greek mythology?
Oh, there you go. That's very important.
I learned nothing about income. And we wonder why kids are leaving school, or young generation, looking for that high-paying job. But now let me ask you this. If you have a degree in technology, do you learn anything about assets?
Never.
So you could be a techie and you know nothing about this.
Yeah.
You could be a techie and know nothing about this. You see, when a banker looks at your financial statement, they're looking at the mirror of you.
Mm-hmm.
This is a reflection of you. Mm-hmm. And if you got Jack here and Jack here, then you're not that smart financially. Yeah. So the reason the cash flow game is such an important game, it teaches you what is important to your banker or for a capitalist or for an entrepreneur. Is an entrepreneur's got to know how to increase their income. Yeah. And an entrepreneur's got to know how to create assets. Mm-hmm. If you don't know those two things, you should not be an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. You should be an employee, which is why so many young people coming out of school have massive student loan debt over here, right? But they don't know anything about this and about this mm-hmm. here. That's risky.
Mm-hmm. And we always have to find outside resources to like find this information, learn this information, you know, taking courses here at Rich Dad, learning through your seminars. And so it's really astonishing how something that's supposed to prepare you for the future leaves you with just the most important documents that we're told that we need to have are a resume and your report cards, your transcripts. But in reality,
if you're going to be an employee.
Exactly. But for entrepreneurship, which is what a lot of people come to us for, this is where you can learn it here, because in the school system you won't.
You see, if you're going to increase your income right over here, mm-hmm. you need a real teacher. If you're going to acquire assets, you need real teachers. Mm-hmm. What is high risk is asking people who are fake teachers, like my calculus teacher and my accounting, you love accounting teachers, don't you?
No, I hate them.
Did your accounting teacher know anything about this?
No, nothing.
Did your accounting teacher know anything about this?
No.
That's risky.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I wrote the book, Fake Money, Fake Teachers, Fake Assets. And what Wall Street is telling you to do was just give your money to them. Yeah. That's risky. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, savings, and ETFs. I don't touch that stuff, but maybe you should. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't want to take risk, save money, invest for the long term in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs over here. But with the next crash coming, you'll lose it all. Mm-hmm. That's risky.
And when we lose it all, when we turn our money away to these people, it's easy to point fingers instead of, like you said, looking in the mirror and seeing that the reflection of what is in the financial statement, assets and liabilities is a reflection of you and what you've done with your money.
And that's what the banker asks you for your financial statement. Mm-hmm. If you're an entrepreneur or a capitalist. If you're an idiot, they don't really care. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the frightening thing is, here's your generation. You guys have student loans here, right?
Yeah.
Let me do that in blue. Lots of student loans here. And here's my generation, the old guys, the baby boomers. Their pensions have been stolen. There's nothing in them. Mm-hmm.
But people keep putting in their money to their 401ks.
So it goes to Wall Street. This goes to, mm-hmm. It doesn't go to the bank, it goes to the Treasury, U.S. government. And the reason the reason school is so expensive today is anytime you increase this, the price of education keeps going up. So it pushes it out of the reach of young people.
Yeah.
What the Federal Reserve Bank, our banks, and our school system's doing is criminal. It's ripping off my generation, ripping off your generation. Mm-hmm. So the reason your banker doesn't ask you for your report card, if you're going to be an banker wants to see, do you know how to increase income? Do you know how to minimize taxes legally? Do you know how to minimize debt or create debt to buy assets? Mm-hmm. That's financial IQ. And that's what the banker says. So the riskiest thing you can do is go to school, learn from a fake teacher, put your money with a fake teacher called a financial planner, and work hard for fake money mm-hmm. here, and pay a lot of taxes. That's not what we teach here at Rich Dad, mm-hmm. because the risk is high risk.
Yeah.
Any final words?
No, and I'm glad you bring to light, because that's actually a lot of comments that we get and questions that we get on our YouTube is, how do I decrease my taxes? How do I increase my income? And it's really just getting the education. So you can start off by watching these videos, going to your resources that we have at Rich Dad and finding the right teachers and team members like you have too. So.
So at Rich Dad, we have real teachers. These are my teachers because they teach me all the time. I'm always learning, you know. And, you know, the reason I have a lot of income is the number one way to raise income is sales. Do they teach you sales in school? But if you work for a network marketing company, you learn sales. So that's why President Trump, I know people hate Trump, some people hate me too, but President Trump and I are the only people that recommend network marketing. Because in network marketing, you have to go through your fear and you have to learn how to sell. So the reason I'm an entrepreneur is I know how to make money, I know how to acquire assets, I know how to use debt to acquire assets. That's real financial education, not the garbage you're teaching in school. Let me say it one more time. If you're going to be an employee or a doctor or a lawyer, then traditional education is really important. But you're going to be an entrepreneur, you don't need to.
Yeah. And thank you, Robert, for bringing all this information to us, because I think it's something that's very valuable. And like we mentioned before, we're taught the opposite in the traditional school system. So I'm grateful that we have a teacher like you to teach all our viewers.
Well, the highest risk today is to go to school, get student loan debt, and get a job, and put your money in a 401k. But most people should do that because they never learned this in school.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode. And just remember that if you want to get smarter, remember to take more risks. Thank you for watching this advanced lesson in Millennial Money. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Robert.
Thank
And that's it for today, Millennials. But we want to know your biggest risk and how it paid off. So share your story in the comments below. Don't forget to catch us at our next premiere. So make sure to join us and hit the notification bell so we can see you there. Also subscribe and make sure to leave a thumbs up if you actually enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.